Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp Podcast. We're over 200 episodes now. Thank you to all the faithful listeners that have listened to every single episode and continue to tune in. I appreciate it so much. Today we are going to be taking a question that came in via the website from a landscaper, but I want to take the concept that they're talking about scaling your business, and we're going to talk about when you should scale your business, when you should grow it, and when you shouldn't. But before we get into that, I want to say a big thank you to today's sponsor for the show, which is Gusto. If you haven't already, go to gusto.com/bootcamp. That's gusto.com/bootcamp. They're giving just our podcast a free 3-month trial. So usually you can get like a 1-month trial through their online thing, and they were giving to us that first. But so many of the boot campers have jumped on their software, begin to use it, have enjoyed it so much, they opened it up. They said, hey, we're going to give you your listeners 3 months. So gusto.com/bootcamp, free 90 days. 90 days. You try the software out, and you can print all your payroll stubs right from a printer for all of your employees. You can set up direct deposit, so you don't even have to, get the printer. It just goes directly into their bank account using their routing number and bank account number. Super efficient. It's a great way to reduce the amount of time that you spend doing payroll every single pay period. And in addition to all the benefits of having employees and having them being paid, it has the HR part of the benefits and making sure that people can know when they want to be off for holidays and things like that. It's a great program. Check it out. Gusto.com/bootcamp. If you want to do what we're talking about today, that is scale your business, people are a big part of that. And it happens to be that when people show up to work, they want to get paid. And so to do that efficiently, to do that effectively, check out gusto.com/bootcamp. Now, today, we're going to take this question, came in from Jeremiah. Jeremiah writes in from the website. You can always go to businessbootcamppodcast.com. And if you click on the contact page, you can fill out a form that essentially comes right to my email, and I will answer it for you. I answer like probably 99% of my emails directly. So it's me, it's not someone else. I try to get to them. Sometimes it takes me a while, but I get to them. And so if you have a question on how to start, grow, or save your business, go to businessbootcamppodcast.com, go to the contact page. I'm going to be working on this website hopefully over this winter once I get some more time and really renovating it, getting it actually useful. Right now it's sort of stagnant, just a contact page, but we will get it to where it needs to be. But let's jump into this question. We're going to talk about scaling your business, when to do it, when you should and when you should not be scaling your business. So let's read this question. It is from a landscaping company. Usually I would do this on the Landscape Business Course podcast. However, I wanted to take the concept of this question and apply it to any industry, regardless of the small business. So here we go. Jeremiah writes and he says, "Hi, Mike. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma area, and I have a lawn and landscaping business. Right now, we have about 50 mowing customers. We are in our second year of business, and I work in the field daily. I have one guy full-time, and I have a couple others part-time. We do 2- and 3-man crews depending on the day. I have 2 questions. Number 1, when is the point that you should start a second crew? I know 2-man crews are the most efficient on average for mowing. When you get more work than 2 guys can handle, but you can have a 3rd guy and get it all done. How do I know when I should invest in another truck and trailer and all the equipment for a second crew? This would also apply to adding another crew, whether it's 2, 3, 4, etc. Number 2, his second question, Jeremiah says, I'm going to use Facebook ads for next season. Do you think I should start doing them now and continue all winter so that I get in front of lots of people and people start to recognize the business name, or wait till the late winter, early spring to start them? Thanks for your podcast. I listen to all your episodes on both podcast channels. They have helped me a lot. Our website below he gives it is adamslawnmaintenance.com. All right, so Jeremiah. So this is not the Landscape Business Course podcast where I would dive really deep into why 2-man crews are better, 3-man crews than 4-man crews. And I would disagree with one point that Jeremiah did say there, that he said that 2-man crews is best for mowing. It's actually the most efficient to have one. However, this is diving deep in the weeds for landscapers only, but it's actually more efficient to have one man on the crew. What's difficult is finding the right person that can be by themselves all day mowing, number 1. And number 2, keeping them accountable. Like having two people was going to make sure that the other person's not on their phone all day and isn't going and stopping at the gas station and taking breaks. And so like usually two is the best. However, most efficient, if you can find a good person, is one. And the reason for that is because you don't get, when you do a 2-man crew, you don't half the amount of time at the job. It's more like you reduce the time by maybe 35-40% because there's just loss of inefficiency when you have two people. And I'm not going to explain all of that because we're not on the Landscape Business Course podcast. But that is a podcast episode I should do, talking about 2-man, 3-man, 4-man, and 1-man crews, when to do them and when not to do them. So that's kind of diving deep in the weeds. Another thing that I want to talk about really quickly before we jump into like the main meat of the episode, and he talks about Facebook ads. He's asking, so what he's talking about here, Jeremiah is saying, hey, I'm going to do Facebook ads for next season. Should I run them throughout the entire winter or should I just wait till the spring? When you are a small business and you're spending under $1,000 a month per month in ad spend on Facebook, I believe you should be going for more of a sales approach, which is you're actually trying to get the end goal for the ad is for them to call you and set up an estimate. If you're spending over that, yes, you can work on branding. Yes, you can work on giving free content, free videos, offering free advice, free tips. Like you can focus more on that. If you're spending under $1,000 a month on Facebook ads and you're in a local market, I would suggest being more of a sales strategy, which means I would wait till spring. Jeremiah, I would wait until there's a time that they actually would want to pick up the phone and call you about lawn care and landscaping. If you had lots of money to just burn over the winter, yeah, of course, it's good to get in front of them. I just think the most bang for your buck is going to be waiting till the spring because people are not thinking about mowing or landscaping during the winter when there's snow on the ground, and they're not likely to pick up the phone, which is what you want to be doing as a small business if you have a very limited budget on Facebook ads. If you want to do branding like Coca-Cola and Apple, you need a lot of money. And yes, in the long run, it pays off. However, if you don't have the money and you don't have the spend to burn through a lot of cash to get to the place of branding, I would wait. I would wait until you want to spend that $300-400 more effectively in the spring when that $300 or $400 can drive 20-30 phone calls to your office, which can turn into 5 to 10 jobs, which can turn into $30, $40, $50,000 worth of work. That's kind of how it works. So after those two little sidetrack, more industry specific things, I want to talk more generally of what we can talk about here and learn from Jeremiah's question. Essentially, Jeremiah is asking, okay, he has 50 mowing customers, He's in a second year business. He's working in the field right now. He has a full-time guy and then he has a couple part-time guys. He's wondering, hey, when should I start a second crew? So this is the classic question, and this is where I'm gonna go a little more less industry specific. Yes, I could go very specific as far as lawn care, landscaping, but that would be a question for the Landscape Business Course podcast. Now, I'm gonna be talking today about when should you scale your business in general, whether that be starting another location, whether it be getting a new equipment, whether it be getting another employee. Whatever it is, there's a certain point in time, there's junctions within your business when you got to make the decision to either scale the business or keep it where it's at, keep making good money or decent money, or, you're happy, quote unquote, happy where you're at. And you say, you know what? I don't want to grow. I don't want to get more people. I don't want to get more business. I don't want to get more equipment and responsibilities. And then you got more overhead, and there's a place where you're like, you know what? I've just had enough. But what he's asking here is, when is the right place? When is the right time to make the jump? When is it time to invest in the more equipment, invest in more people, and scale the business? And unfortunately, I have no answer. It depends. It's very different for every single person, every single business. I don't believe that every business is made to be $1 million company. I don't even I'd sell a course about making $100,000 a month in your landscaping business. I don't believe that every single landscaping business owner should make $100,000 in a month, because their lifestyle is not going to map to that direction. They don't want to be spending the time and energy to get to that place. They don't want to have to manage crews. They don't want to have to manage people. They don't want to have to manage office people. They don't want to have to deal with clients that are unhappy over bigger jobs. With a bigger company, the bigger problems get. When you're a small little business doing $100,000 a year, you might have $1,000 problem or $500 problem. Well, when you may have $1 million company, you're getting $10, $20, $30,000 problems that you got to deal with on a daily basis. And so some people don't want that. They don't want that stress. They would rather spend more time with their family. They would rather not have to manage people and deal with the stress that keeps them up at night. And that's what it does. And so, what I would say is that, Jeremiah, I'm not going to give you a direct answer on this one. When is it the right time to grow your business? Because it really depends on the person. I have to talk to every single person that asked me that question and really to dig down and determine whether or not it's right. I could talk to someone like this, like Jeremiah, for 15 minutes and kind of get a better understanding of whether or not they should scale up. Because if I was talking to Jeremiah, I would ask him questions such as, how's it going with that one full-time employee? Like, do you find that you can trust him? Do you have a lot of confidence in him? Is he going to be sticking around? Those part-time people, are they trained enough? Do you think you could hire them as full-timers if you had enough work? Are they 2 part-timers that you could literally, if you had enough work, make them have a 3-man crew of full-timers? Like, that's interesting. I'd be asking those questions simply because, does Jeremiah even want to deal with that many people? Does he want to have 3, 4? He talks about 3 or 4 crews. Like, okay, if each of those crews have 2 or 3 people, we're talking about a company of 8 to 10 individuals. If he's having issues dealing with the 1 full-timer and the 2 part-timers, and the first opening words are how unreliable people are, or how hard it is to manage people, or they're always doing things behind his back, like, that raises questions in my mind. Okay, maybe it's not a bad thing, but maybe Jeremiah shouldn't scale his business, because if 1 full-time employee and 2 part-timers cause that much headache for him, and he's already kind of complaining or thinking, I'm not saying Jeremiah is, by the way, I'm just hypothetically speaking here, but if he's complaining about it, or he's thinking, maybe this is not what I want, any sort of inclination at 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, you probably shouldn't scale your business. I'd focus on efficiency. I would focus on, trying to raise your prices. If you're a service business, like, I'd be trying to focus on that. If you're a product-based business, I'd be looking for key people that you can sell to, suppliers that you can make alliances with, key customers that will buy a lot of volume, won't give you much headache, and you don't have to get as many people. Customer service is lower, things like that. However, if Jeremiah, if you're willing to take a little bit of heat, take some more stress, take a little bit more hours of work each day to get it off the ground. If you're willing to lead your organization and lead people, lead managers and office staff, and really scale the business, then yeah, maybe it's time to scale up your business. And the reason I'm talking about all of this today, and the reason I wanted to share Jeremiah's question with everyone, is because, as you know, I recently just started our 2nd location. So for the past 2.5 years, we've been at 1 location, and it's done really well. It's kind of a unique concept, and we don't do massive amounts of volume on retail, but we have incorporated retail into our service business, and it's worked out really good because it really complements the service side of our business. And yes, 80 to 90% of our business is still service side. However, the retail offers a little bit of money to pay for the office staff, and then it also is great advertising for the community that sees the store, and it comes into the store and gets their product. And so it really is like marketing for the service side of the business, and that's where the money's at. And so it's a great little combination. We've done it for, like I said, 2.5 years. Well, take that back. It's not even quite 2 years since we've been at the first location. Because we started there September 1st, 2015. And so almost 2 years there since we started there, and it's been working out really good. And the business there could probably get to about, I'd say, 1.5 million in sales before it really would have to definitely move. And we're not quite there yet. But we definitely be there by early next spring. And so I decided, okay, we need to start a 2nd shop to either, because what we could do, there's 2 options. This is the question everyone has. Should I scale my business? There's 2 options I could take, right? I could sit on the 1 location, raise our prices, And so that would keep the demand down, because otherwise we're going to get, 2 or 3 more trucks next year. And then we don't have enough space in our current shop because we already have 6, and then we already have 4 trailers. Like, we can't really handle too many more, like maybe a couple more. And we just outgrow that whole space. And so that's why I say 1.5 for that location is really the max it can do. And so what I could do is, okay, instead of getting 1.5, can I stretch that to 1.8, take the extra 300 grand home as profit, and essentially raise the prices so that we don't have as much growth? Could I do that? Yes, I could do that. 2019 could be that kind of a year. You make 1.5 to 1.8, take home a whole lot more money, and just raise your prices so that you don't have more growth and have a higher net profit. That's one option, and that's a viable option. I'm not saying anything negative about a certain point in your business where you say, hey, you know what? This is enough. I don't want to scale. I don't want to grow. I don't want to get more employees. I don't want to invest any more of my business of my money. I want to take money home. I actually want to make an income, or I want to invest it in real estate, or I want to go try something else. That's fine. You have come to the place where you want to be at. And that's the whole objective of entrepreneurship. And that's the whole purpose for being successful. And that's when you've accomplished success, is when you can do that. Is when you can say, hey, you know what? I'm where I want to be. I'm happy. This is where I want the company to be at. And so it's not a negative thing to be in my position and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit on this. I'm going to raise prices. I'm going to keep it at the existing level. And that's fine. That's great. We made the decision to start a second location. The reason for that is because we want to franchise the company. And I just genuinely believe that if I don't prove the franchise concept works in a small as well as a large market, I think there'd be holes in our business prototype. And so we've proven it works in, a market that could do 1 to 1.5 within a couple years. Like, that's a pretty good franchisable model, when after 2 years you can be making 7 figures gross revenue for your business. That's a good sign. However, does it work in a large market? So we are currently, have been for the past 2 years, in a smaller market, and not much competition. We are probably the second largest landscaping company that is, we're definitely the largest in our very confined area, like say 4 or 5 mile radius. But there is one other company that is bigger than us, and they also service our area. So, but we're one of the kind of the bigger players in our small market. We're kind of a decently sized fish in a small pond. However, I want to prove that we can also become a big fish in a big pond. And so what we've done was created the second shop over in Bellingham, which is a larger market. And I want to prove that, hey, this can work and make 2-3+ million in revenue in a larger market. And then we'll be able to learn from those experiences for the franchise. So if someone gets a franchise in the middle of Denver, they aren't trying to use the same tactics that we used in a little tiny town, right? So I'm trying to prove that it works in all markets. And so that's why we decided to scale. And that's why this year, our entire team, including myself, I think is 15 people. Because the reason I know that is because I just ordered name tags for everyone. So 15 people, if you include all the part-timers and temporary workers for the summer, for the growing season. And I think that'll probably go to 30 next year. That's kind of the goal / just kind of where I project it to be. And that's because of the second location. The second location is going to have massive amounts of traffic and growth, in my opinion. But it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of resources. And this year I'll make less take-home money than last year, easily, like half of what I made last year on my, if you look at my tax return from last year compared to what I'll make this year, it's probably gonna be about half. The reason for that is because it took a lot of money to get the second shop off the ground. We brought in like over 1,500 tons of gravel to get 2 acres leveled and graded and everything like that. We got signage, you got offices, we had to build the cement blocks for all the materials, which in alone cost like 20 something grand. Like all sorts of stuff, you pile all of that on, and that's like probably $100,000 to get that started. And then all the time and energy that goes into doing that, setting up the contractors and all of that. And then you got your existing business that you got to be running, right? So like the past month for 6 weeks has been really a lot of work, and it's obviously a lot of money. And so you don't get to take as much money home. And so the question is, do you scale your business? For Jeremiah, do you go from 1 crew to 2 crews? I'm not going to answer the question for Jeremiah, but what I want you to be thinking about is not so much a question as to whether or not you should scale your business. It's more the question of, is your lifestyle and what you envision for your goals and what you want out of life. That should be really the center. It shouldn't be what your business, is better for your business. That should not be the question. A lot of people say, well, should I scale my business? Oh, I'll make more, or I'll have a better, I'll get in a new market. Yeah, that's all fine and good. But the first question should be, what does success look like for you and your lifestyle? Because just because it's going to be better for the business doesn't necessarily it's going to be better for you. That's the question. And I'm not against, scaling your business or growing or going to new markets, starting a second store. That's all great. Hiring new employees, getting more equipment. That's all great. But what I would ask before you ask someone like myself, if you scale your business, I would ask yourself, I would ask you and yourself, and only you can answer this question. What does success look like for you? And what does success look like for your business? It's not what does success look like for your bank account. It does not mean what does the success mean in far as what you can afford, boats, houses, jets, cars. It does not mean that. Fashion, watches. That's not what the question is. The question is, what does success look like for you personally? Not from the outside, not what other people look at you and say it's successful, not how your banker looks at your bank account or your real estate agent looks at your house. That's not what we're talking about. Ask yourself the question, what does success look like for you? And then from that, you'll be able to map where your business should be. Where does your business fit into the success map that you've created? And I find too many people are asking what's right for the business, and it doesn't line up with what their goals are for their personal life. And that's where the conflict happens, and that will eventually break. And yes, I asked myself those questions. I asked myself the question before we scaled the business, before I took the very, what's the word I'm looking for? The very predetermined or a calculated decision of starting the second location. I asked myself, is this right for me personally? Yes, it's right for the business. Yes, it's going to franchise. It's going to help with the franchise model. Yes, it's going to bring in more revenue. Yes, we're going to be able to hire more people and make more money. But before any of those questions, before I started running numbers, before I offered a lease, before I started looking for property, before I bought more equipment, before I hired more office staff, before I did all of that, before I started the new corporation, because we were in LLC before we revamped all of that, I had to ask myself the question, what does success look like for me? And then does that business decision map with that model? Jeremiah and everyone else out there, if you have the question, should you scale your business? That's the question, the sequence of questions you should be asking. Number 1, what does success look like for you? And number 2, how will this decision in your business map? Will it align with that vision of success? You've been listening to the Mike Minute edition of the Business Bootcamp podcast. And if you haven't already, go to gusto.com/bootcamp to streamline your HR and payroll accounting software for your business today.